Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another amazing episode of Warmth and Panels. I'm joined by my femme fatale, kick butt, awesome partner, and I would say the only teammate I have left on the team, Sara.
What up? I'm the only teammate, y'all.
Yeah, apparently when your father smashes your head through a train track and the team dies, doesn't work out for everybody.
Yeah, it's a lot of trauma to deal with.
Yeah, that can make some people invincible or not.
But
But so we got a slew of news and hot takes coming out of this. I would say this month of comics and movies and everything, right, Sarah?
oh yeah, there's a lot of weird shit coming out. A lot of the sort of like your mains, your Supermans, your Batmans, your Captain Americas, all of that has sort of run out its course, and currently we are queuing up a lot of stuff for 2021 and 2022 that's going to be weirder comics that you might not have heard of, even if they come from the big imprints. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
True. And then we even got some hot takes by, I would say, comic book creators talking about the current state of the industry versus other mediums. And I guess we should start with that hot take. So, Gerry Conway, I believe he created Venom, and he also created Gwen Stacy. He recently made a take saying that American comic book artists are taken deservedly to task regularly for outrageous sexist treatment of women, but rarely do I see any commentary on the rampant sexism and misogyny of manga, and is incredibly popular amongst younger readers. So he's talk. So this is a lashback to a topic that happened earlier that somebody tried to correct Jamal Campbell's art. For he draws a lot of pinup type women, and he drew, I believe, a Mary Jane. I almost say Mary J. Blige, but no, Mary Jane. And he drew her in this way, and then some person on the internet had the audacity to edit his art and said it was wrong to fix it right. In reality, Campbell strike back by pointing out the techniques you were wrong and how you press your body and everything. So it's like when you correct an artist, only the artist correct you how bad your technique is because you're censoring him. It's like oof, and that's where Gerry Conway's critiques come from. It also comes from that a recent Rutgers article came out pointing out that manga is just outselling American comics in America.
Right. And I mean, that's sort of unsurprising given that, manga has always been incredibly popular around the world, not just in the US or in its home country, Japan. It tends to also be more, what's the word I'm looking for? Forgiving in terms of like jumping into things in medias res.
Right, as well as most manga, regardless of time period, just has a complete story. Like, perfect example, I'm old, so another anime show. Captain Harlock, the OG Captain Harlock. You can buy that in about 2 hardcovers by 7 Seas, and you have the entire OG Captain Harlock, and you're done. There is going to be, well, there are multiple versions of Captain Harlock, but it's not going to be like Season 2 Captain Harlock. No, it's just that's it.
Yep.
That's it. Most manga has definitive ends where you could just end the story. Though you can argue how long it takes, but they mostly end.
Right.
So when it comes to comics, there are multiple versions, multiple variations of character, which is not, this is again not trying to insult comics. I love comics. That's what they do. Is that you'll have like, you've read Animal Man. You must have read Grant Morrison's Animal Man. No, I read Jeff Johns' Animal Man. See how there's a clear difference between the two? Because who takes over the work? Yeah. While in manga, there's only one Naruto. There's only one, Bleach. There's only one, My Hero Academia. So there's only because it's one series created by one person and it ends.
Or one team. Like, they definitely have other people like Clamp who are a 4-women team who, say what you will, are very effective at what they do.
Oh, yes. And the thing, though, is back to Gerry Conway was talking about the sexist treatment of women. I do agree with that to a degree on the end, is that in a lot of shonen or other type of mangas, I mean, it's ecchi, is a whole genre to survive pervertedness. No one really goes out there where going, haha, that's sexist. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit apples to oranges, though, you know what I mean? If you're talking about how women in the industry of comics are treated versus how women in Japanese manga are treated, it's a little bit like this is not the same thing. And while there is, I'm sure, a level of discrimination in like the manga community because like
everywhere.
it's
Trust me, I got stories about that.
yeah, but it's a little bit more egalitarian, and there really is more of a space for women and women's stories. Like manga as a genre, or we could call it a genre because manga itself is just a
It's just
medium.
graphic novels, yeah.
Yeah, as a medium, typically speaking, is more egalitarian. Like there's more, like you don't see as many like popular romance or like American comic books of the main imprints are very much superhero based, and that's sort of what you get. And you might get variations on that, but manga can go from the fantastical to the realistic, from horror to slice of life. Like it's a very broad category, and there is more room for stories by women, for women, about women, whereas the American comic book industry, not it's much better now, but it wasn't always that way, whereas manga was
No.
always more
The only thing
egalitarian
I can
about that.
argue for the manga problems, a lot of manga stories are a bit more homogenized, and the more you deep into manga, the more sameness you feel. Like when and also women creators in general. Like it took them, not to insult Japan or anybody else, or my favorite, Rumio Takahashi, the creator of Ranma, Inuyasha, Mermaid Saga, Mako-Isen, my favorite stuff, Mason Yukon. She didn't really get recognition by the industry until her later years, and she's been pumping out like gold. I mean, she even
Yeah.
went in Eisner. So there's things like that kind of, like I said, I feel like I do agree with more egalitarian, but it also kind of feels like, at least for manga in Japan, when it comes to women creators, sometimes, not all the times, these creators can be boxed or they have to work with what
Eh,
is popular.
I mean, like, but think about Naoko Takeuchi, who came up with Sailor Moon, which was like an immediate smash hit
Oh, of
right
course.
off the bat. Like, and I mean, like, there were female creators all the way from the 70s and the 80s. Like, I get that Rumiko Takahashi, sort of. The problem also, I think, with Rumiko Takahashi was she started off very slice of life and then, like, was not consistent. And that's not a problem. You should be able to do whatever the fuck you want when you are an author or an artist. But, like, she didn't build up the consistency the way that Naoko Takeuchi did, the way that Clamp did. Like, they had, well, to be fair, Clamp got a little fucking weird at one point in the early 80s, but we don't talk about that time. But you know what I mean? Like, consistency really is more key than it is about, like, gender. And again, I think a lot of it also comes down to the fact that there was a lot of propaganda in the 80s about separating the toy aisle, and with that came separating like everything. So it became very much that like comics were for boys and dolls were for girls, or whatever the fuck the equivalent was.
Right, right.
Or horse novels, I guess, were for girls. Uh but
Yeah, it was like that. That's why the birth of shoujo became a thing.
well, no,
Manga
but
for
in
women.
Japan it was never like that. Japan it
Right,
was
exactly. Yeah, the division happened later on, but yeah, that was
well, I mean, like, but yeah, I mean, like, well, there are genres, but it wasn't like, well, only men read comics, which is like
right, right, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
stupid because in the 50s, 60s, every child read comics. All the children, boy, girl, whatever, read comics. And in Japan, it was the same way. Comics were an accessible medium for adults and for children. Uh, and whereas America decided for some reason to have the advertising split where they were going to advertise comics more to boys and video games more to boys on that hand as well, that never happened really in Japan. So, you have publications like what was there's a predecessor to Shoujo Beat that was like started in the 50s or something, which is like
Let me check. Let me check.
what.
If I know the arts, I know the other manga back in the day that wasn't manga was Kogamaki, but I don't know the publisher. There was many people who did it. This is how you guys know I'm a manga nerd. I actually know my history. Let me go. Maybe, was it this? No, not Vic. Vic's signature is modern. I want to say before that. But yeah, keep on. I don't
Yeah,
recall the name of
I
it, but I know
mean, yeah,
exactly what
so
you're talking about.
basically, like, he's comparing industry to text instead of industry to industry. And yes, again, I am sure there are issues in the Japanese manga industry
Yeah,
in the same way that there are issues with this kind of thing in just about every industry, creative or otherwise, across various countries. But the accessibility is much higher in Japan for female creators, and especially independent female creators, not like, oh, you need to be saddled with like a
a
high
public. No, 100%.
level. Yeah.
That's true. Like I said, the only thing in Japan is that a lot of the, I would say, the industry is a little more homogenized. So there's kind of a things you there's a little nuance of things you may not be able to do. But if it was smash hit, no one cares.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. But in America, it's like, well, if a woman writes, like, perfect example, not to crap on I forgot her name. She did Mockingbird. The writer who did Mockingbird, she left the industry.
Oh, I don't remember, but yeah.
Mockingbird. Controversy. Let me look. Yeah, it was a controversy. Chelsea Kane. There we go. Chelsea Kane. She's doing some images for you. Chelsea Kane. She wrote Mockingbird and just wrote it as a female spy parody of what men do. Instead of the guy sleeping with random women, it was her and talking about women issues and whatnot. And people were outraged of it. But it's the same thing if you read like Nick Fury, Agents of Shield, him going it.
Yeah.
So it's like even in American comics, when a female creator writes a property and someone doesn't like it, the ability to go smash it is insane. Like it's like what happened to Chelsea Kane. She quit writing comics because of it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is what it is, unfortunately. So, like, you don't hear that happening as much in Japan. A lot of what happens is burnout, really. I mean, this is across for all of them.
Yeah,
the
the
crazy
only
schedule
issue.
kills you.
Yeah, the only issue in Japan I know of, and I hope I don't sound too political, is that if you're writing manga that isn't fit to stores, or you write that's very different, such as what's her name, Nabaki Namato. Anyway, I'm butchering her name, but she wrote a book called My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness and My Personal Diaries, and she has a new book coming out called My Alcoholic Fever Dream. Where you write adult books about topics like that, especially her coming out being the gay, you may not be able to find a publisher. But that's a social bullshit stigmatism, and I don't recommend any country to have. Okay,
Right.
that's bullshit.
But see, my problem is again that this guy is comparing industry stuff in the United States to the text stuff, things that happen in the media or in the medium of manga. Like it's I don't know. It's very strange to compare those two things. As like one of those things are cultural narratives, and one of those things are happening to people in real life that we can actually stop easily.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I agree with
yeah.
that. And so, like I said, I like Gerry Conway. I think he's done great work. But I think as you point out, he's not seeing. It's a very bad nuanced take because it's a lot of I don't know differences.
I mean, again, yeah, it's just a bad argument at its foundation because it's not comparing the same thing. It's not saying, well, the Japanese comic books industry is also sexist because of how it treats its creators. He's saying it's sexist because of the narratives in which it produces. However, that's also a gross simplification of the market of manga. Like, yeah, you've got ecchi stuff that's like, or you've got like some shoujo, some shonen stuff that's a little like, ugh. But there's a lot of shonen that's totally fine. Like, yes, you have Mineta from My Hero Academia, who, like, I think we can all agree should get blasted into space to never be seen again.
Lol.
Oh god,
But
but
but the blow up though is like for everything like that, you get something like Lady Snowblood, a woman whose family destroyed, who wants revenge.
Yeah, or like again, you'll get like cute stories for girls that are like wholesome and fine, or like a shonen show that's just like, here is the lady teammate. We do nothing to the the lady teammate is just here. We have several, My Hero Academia has several female characters of note who have cool power and villains and all of this cool stuff who are treated with respect, except by Mineta.
You're not gonna let that go.
I hate him. You know what I mean? Like, and again, to say that manga is all one way is to say that comics are all one way. It's like, but they're not,
feel like,
though.
I feel like too he does like the nuances. Like, yes, these characters make big boobs or perverted, etc. For women, they exaggerate, etc. But comics do the same thing.
Exactly the same thing.
Exactly the same thing. I think the difference is that in manga, and I'm not trying to defend manga when they do it, I guess it's the audience doesn't critique it, while comics are read by older people, so we have much more nuance in understanding it. It's a weird thing to say. It's very hard to explain, but it's like I think that he doesn't understand the difference between like an ecchi manga type or an ecchi whatever, pervert whatever, versus a pinup of Black Cat. How they're not the same thing.
Yeah, and also just generally like there's a difference between sexuality and sexualization.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that there's not sexualization in manga because there is, but there's also something to be said for a culture that does not shy away from sexuality as much as we do, right? There's not as much like out and out gore and violence as there is in American media, in Japanese media. I mean, obviously for older people, but at the younger stage, it's not quite as prevalent.
Yeah.
So,
even then,
again, like, it's just a weird argument.
Yeah, Jerry should have done some research and like understanding to me because it's like what you should. His argument should be is that it's bad. It's a bad precedent when people go out of their way to censor comic book creators or artists for work they've done because they were paid to do and they have their art style that's known for it, versus people aren't going to take the same idea censoring etchy or perverted type content in other forums. That's all you can say. Leave it as that. But you know, but he had to go. He had to go with the hard take, with the hard R. You know, the
Yeah.
hard R, the
I
hard
don't know.
realization.
It is what it is. And I
It is
mean,
what it
like,
is.
I will say that I see women get fridged way less often in manga than I do in American comic books. Uh,
And
so,
if
you know,
women creators write books and comic books, I would know them based on the controversy sometimes rather than the merit of the work. And I'm not trying to sell, it's the loud voices I would hear. Like, again, I
right.
read Chelsea Kane's Mockingbird. It was 2 volumes. It was pretty good. I think it's a very nice satire parody of the spy genre and has
Mm-hmm.
some interesting takes and critiques of flipping this one script. Nothing about it was politically motivated like a bunch of psycho people. Oh, you
Yeah,
saw a cover of her saying, "Where's my feminist agenda?" I'm like, dude, it's just a t-shirt. It's
I
just a
know.
cover.
It's just a cover. And yeah, like, again, Gerry Conway, at first I thought, and I think I've come to realize now that I've sort of reread the tweet, I thought he was making a judgment about how artists in the industry fuck with female creators,
No,
which is also actually part of the problem that's being discussed. But now I realize he was talking about the art, in which case,
yeah,
no, my point still stands that, like, it's different. It's not quite as, like, simple as you make it seem. And it's like, if you have a problem with it, then, like, unfortunately it's a cultural thing. That's something that has to be brought to tasks by the people in the culture in which it's being produced. Like, yes, international outrage will take you a ways, but it will only go so far. Uh so, you know, end of the day, it's still a bad hot take.
yeah. So it's like, and you know, Jerry Conway, you should be chilling with that. You know, just
Basically, like, and I'm not saying cancel Gerry Conway because
oh
whatever.
no, no,
It's a,
no,
it's a,
don't. He's done. He's
it's a
contributed
fine,
millions to the industry.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a fine thing, but it's just like, just in general, having hot takes in tweets is a bad idea. There's just no room for nuance in a tweet. Like, just, I just wish people would stop doing this. It's just
yeah,
like, I'm totally cool with you having, and if you want to sit down and, like, hard critique, um, hard critique a manga for the way that it portrays women or what it does with its narratives, then, like, you're just going to need more room. You know
yeah.
what I
You're gonna
mean?
you need to understand the art, the demographic. What is the character? It's a whole lot of into it. Like you and I just discussed, like generally all of our favorite manga creators in like a couple of 5 minutes, like from Takahashi to Clamp to etc. And we're like, yeah, look how prominent they are, and yet you know there's still some room about how we feel about them.
Hmm.
So it's like I don't know. I felt like he should have just sat down and made a podcast something about it. Maybe I would have taken it seriously. But this take, honestly, nothing against him, is cringe.
Yeah, it just, it's not good.
It's not good.
It's not a
Speaking of
good hot take.
speaking of good hot takes, you know, Regina King will be doing Bitter Root, the movie adaptation. So that's great. If you guys haven't heard Bitter Root is a comic book done by Sanford Green, Chuck Brown, and David Walker. It's the first volume is currently out by Image. It is I would say a alternate history, African American, bunch of African American brothers killing supernatural stuff. I'll just leave the illustration there. It's good stuff. It's good black representation in comics, at least in a mainstream way. Some that makes me happy on the inside. And I recommend everyone check out the books. But I'm just happy that it's got a film adaptation by Regina King. You know, it's gonna. She's been chosen. She's closing the deal.
Absolutely. And it's also interesting to, like, see all of these creators coming through with, like, comics that, again, that we don't usually see or hear, because they are very much sort of, like, more indie projects. And, you know, a lot of us know Regina King for her acting, but
Yeah,
is actually quite a talented director.
yeah. I think she directed. Let me see. She directed an Amazon movie recently. I think it's called One Night in Miami. I'll have to check that out
Yes.
later.
One Night in Miami is the one that got nominated for the Oscar.
Wow.
It's about and you're gonna it's been a hot minute. It's about Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, and then two other famous people whose name I can't remember. One of them is a singer. I think the other one is another athlete, but I honestly could not. My brain is squishy. And who they all meet in one night in Miami, sort of to discuss the state of Black liberation, assimilationist politics versus, outright riots and protesting, and what it means to be Black in America. And it's actually a very good movie.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. So yeah, it's great to see you're doing more work.
Cool. We're Regina King, you did it. It's dab.
Hit the dab.
Do the dab. And I guess speaking of more movie trailers happening along the way, I think we also got Doctor Strange 2 has released the casting they're listing who's coming, who they got in the movie. They got somebody allegedly John Prophet will be in the movie. They got 616. They're just teasing us, all right? They're giving the multiverse of madness. They're teasing us. It's nothing but teasers. Teasers,
Yeah.
I say.
They're just doing all the teasing. Like, it's going to be interesting. So, and it's Sam Raimi who's doing it, right?
I believe so. Let me confirm.
I believe it's Sam Raimi who did the Spider-Man movies, the OG Spider-Man movies.
Yep, it is Sam Raimi.
Oh god,
yep.
it's gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be great, but it's gonna be real funky.
Yeah, and John Prophet was recently in Wonder Woman 1984 as Birdman, and he was in The Witches as Officer Perry. So it's his first time coming through. I personally think this is going to be super cool. I'm always a fan of, at least when Marvel does weird stuff, they commit to it, like Visions. When they commit to their weirdness, they commit. So I'm looking forward to the weirdness.
They commit to the weird. I feel that. I like committing to the weird.
Yeah. Speaking of committing to the weird, everyone's favorite, I guess, super surreal, supernatural, I don't know what to describe, a meta-breaking writer, Grant Morrison's coming back.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. Look, man, you love him or hate him, Grant Morrison does good stuff. But I can go on hours, and his Animal Man is like art. I love his Animal Man.
I mean, like art. Grant Morrison, it's like it depends which Grant Morrison you get. It's like, okay, we're gonna do the roulettes. Like this is gonna be fun.
Oh man, but he's coming back from working as an editor, I believe, for Heavy Metal, and he's coming back to write a Man of Steel and his new version of a Wildstorm team. God, they're giving him. I guess whoever come back to DC will get their own catalog. It's called DC Connect. Art wise, it's Johnny Mikhail Janin. You've seen him a couple times doing Batman, Superman art. He's a staple in DC's life. He's also Superman the Authority. I'm more nervous about what's going to be. I mean, I'm excited, but at the same time, it's Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
Morrison is just, you got from All-Star Superman, and then you got All-Star Superman, you got Seven Soldiers of Victory, you got, oh my god, you got Doom Patrol, Animal Man I just mentioned. He has a lot. Honestly, he has his Batman run, which I think was just not my favorite run by him. But whatever he writes, it's gonna be an experience. Oh, he did X-Men at Marvel, New X-Men. I wasn't a fan of that one as much either. But I do believe, like I said, whatever he touches will definitely leave an impression on you. So if you haven't read any Morrison works, please check them out. Check out Visibles, Animal Man, the original Doom Patrol, his Doom Patrol run, Seven Soldiers of Victory. Just check him out. All-Star Superman. You will not be bored. That's what I'll say. You'll be like, what is going on? This man just, yeah.
It is interesting. Speaking of potentially weird shit going down, there's also going to be an adaptation on Netflix, a TV show based on the comic Sweet Tooth, which is based on Jeff Lemire's comic, or Jeff Lemire. Lemire?
I say Jeff Lemire. I mean, he's Canadian French, but I'm not gonna give him the right pronunciation.
Jeffy Joe.
Jeff Lemire. No, I'm not doing that. Not today.
Lemire.
Lemire. There we go.
So that's basically, it looks really fucking weird. I have to say, I've never read Sweet Tooth. I didn't even know it existed. It was it's actually one of the first works he did. Actually, it actually kind of started his career into making him really famous. He did the art, he was writing it, he published it for Vertigo, which was a DC property, but he owns it, so good stuff. Fun times, inhale. So that one's coming on Netflix as a TV show. which is going to be very, very interesting. I'm trying to see who made it. Basically, it's made by Jeff Mickle, like that's who the show's creator, and he's best known for Hap and Jordan and Mulberry Street. So like not what I would call super big name projects. This might be like his biggest name. Oh wait, also he did In the Shadow of the Moon. Just kidding. That was a big movie. That was a weird movie, but it was a bigger movie. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's going to be interesting to sort of see how that pans out. Basically, from what I can tell of the plot, and don't tell me if I'm wrong. No, but do tell me if I'm wrong. Basically, the world there's a virus that wreaks havoc, and all these kids get born as like part human, part animal hybrids. People start freaking out, and either killing or getting rid of the baby hybrids. And then Sweet Tooth is a deer baby hybrid who goes off into the world and has like adventures.
Yeah, it's weird, it's surreal, but it also is like very touching emotionally. I mean, essentially, the main character, his name is Gus, by the way, because it's been a while I read this series. He lives in the woods with his dad. He knows how to like he knows about herbal life and medicine and whatnot, and he's also kind of semi-religious because his father was a religious man, but his father passed, and then his world gets very different from meeting people in town to psycho people. It's kind of a post-apocalyptic kind of world. The series is complete, by the way. If you guys want to check it out, please check it out. But the only thing I do believe will happen is in Sweet Tooth, they probably would take away, simply because, not because of political context, whatever, they probably take away some of the religious tone or some of the messaging in it because we don't want crazy people getting by this, and as well as some of the religious in this series in the universe is it's more esoteric rather than like, oh yes, he believes it because he's good. No, he believes it because it's part of the story that why this happens, which I'm not spoiling anything. So I think that's the only thing I believe will be taken away from the comic to the adaptation. Maybe some of the religious undertone, and that's about it. Other than that, I'm deeply disturbed that they're not going to have it's not animated because Jeff Lemire's art is fantastic. I'm just kidding. Jeff Lemire's art is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think, I don't know, Netflix, not to shit on any of the stuff that they do, but it's definitely more of a platform that likes live action over animated.
Yeah.
Though I heard Castlevania 4 is great and people really like it. So, but yeah, typically they save the more serious stuff for like Okja, like they save it more for live action than they do for animated. Speaking of other interesting adaptations of shit that is coming out, we also had our first look. Like Marvel basically was like, "Hey, did you miss us? We missed you." It's like, I didn't miss you, Marvel. Get out of my house. They basically gave us a first look at a couple of new things. They gave us the new title for the the Black Panther 2, which is Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which makes sense. But we also got our first look at the Eternals, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that Eternals, actually. That's gonna be my jambo.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with it. Especially because you've got the only two actors on there who I super know well are obviously Angelina Jolie, who wields some sort of badass light sword, and Kumail Nanjiani. So I'm excited to see what happens with those guys. We also get the Marvels, which we didn't get any art for.
No.
But that's going to be Captain Marvel and probably Photon, right? I assume.
Spectrum, Photon. There's a whole bunch. Miss Marvel. So.
Oh, that's right, Miss Marvel.
Yeah, we get Kamala Khan, baby. We in there.
Kamala Khan, not
Kamala.
Kamala.
But honestly, I'm excited to see it all, and I can see G. Wilson like shedding a tear. She's like, finally, I get that TV money. As she tries to convince more people to buy her independent works. Please buy her independent works. Support her.
Yep. Although we do know that there will be in the future probably a Fantastic Four movie, and also we know for a fact Captain America 4 is in the
pipeline.
In the pipeline somewhere. But yeah, so those are the movies coming out through 2023. Like, basically, in 2022, you can look forward to Doctor Strange and Multiverse, Thor Love and Thunder, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which, by the way, comes out on my birthday. The Marvels, and then in 2023, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is going to be a lot of fun for everyone.
Yeah. It feels like they what they're doing is like they stack the latter half. Like I felt some of the movies, if I remember correctly, were moved from 2020 because the world went to crap, 2021 early-ish because the world's still kind of crap, and they just dumped it all in 2022. So time to churn out those dollars, people.
Yep. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see as more people get vaccinated, what exactly movie theaters are going to be looking like. I've seen people going back to movie theaters now that the CDC has also been like new mandates, which we're not going to talk about.
No. They're their mandates. I'll leave it as that. They're mandates.
They are mandates, and you should follow the CDC mandates. We're not saying don't follow the CDC mandates, but like there are new mandates out, and so we'll have to see how movie theaters are affected by those. And it's going to be very interesting, to say the least, about what's going to happen. So that's a big thing. I'm trying to think if there's really anything else. I mean, we also have...
I think it's a Venom. I think we got a new Venom movie. Yeah, for all the people who loved
Turd in the Wind.
Turd in the Wind, yeah. Hey, people love Tom Hardy. Where the Hardy at, you know?
Yeah. Tom Hardy. Now we have Woody Harrelson. And then we also have somebody playing Woody, what's her name?
Naomi Harris, I believe.
Yeah, but I mean, the character that she plays is
it's Venom, Carnage, Shriek. Yeah. I'm trying. Actually, I was right. I was looking at my papers. Like,
I was like, it's not Shrek. It's something like Shrek.
No, God, no, God. We're gonna put Shrek in a Venom movie. Somebody once told me. Oh God, I'm not ready for that.
Oh my God, none of us would be ready for that. We'd all be broken immediately by this movie.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one as well. That's coming out in 2021, if I remember correctly. And also, don't forget that this year we're also getting Suicide Squad.
Right, we're getting our boy John Cena. That's actually what I'm interested in. I just want to see my boy John Cena succeed.
I'm happy for him. I want him to have more movies.
No, just John Cena, just because the memes, you know, he's
John Cena.
And Idris Elba's there because we all, you know, Idris Elba, he's gonna be there. We all love Idris Elba.
We love our person Idris. He's the best.
He's the best. The only regret is that Idris Elba always sounds like he's dying on the inside every time in every movie he's in, or he's slowly like, damn, I just can't believe I'm here.
Yep. Oh man.
I think that covers all of our major announcement news, unless we got some secret stuff on the way, but that's a secret.
Yeah, it's secret, so you can't find out about it. I'm so sorry.
No. And I guess to keep the podcast going, what's not a secret is, I guess we could start with our recommendations this month. You got any recommendations, Sarah?
I always have recommendations because I spend a lot of time at my local library. So I'm going to recommend Once in Future by Kieran Gillen and Dan Mora. It is, in essence, Arthurian monster hunting, which is like, listen, it's great. Basically, a group of nationalists use a artifact to bring back King Arthur, but King Arthur looks all fucked up and spooky. And it's up to this very sassy old lady named Bridget and her bumbling museum curator grandson named Duncan to go fight the mysticism and all the deadly shit that comes out with King Arthur. And that's why it's called Once in Future. It's based on T.H. White's Once in Future King, which is about King Arthur and the Arthur myth. It's a lot of fun. I sort of took it out on a recommendation. I didn't know what I was getting into. As with most things, I never know what the fuck I'm getting into. But it is a lot of fun if you like Arthurian legends. If you like, honestly, like, Dan Mora's art is so good. It's such pretty art.
Yeah, Dan. Yeah, I love his covers.
Yeah, it's got good stuff, man. So, generally, a big recommend. I love it. It is super great. Definitely check it out. And again, it's also by The Wicked and the Divines. Kieran. I'm so sorry. I can't with Irish.
KG.
The worst human.
I would say
KG, our good man
KG.
KG, living the dream, doing the best works. Cool, fun stuff. Definitely check it out if you were a medieval knight / Arthurian legend kid growing up.
Cool. The book I recommend this month is, I haven't read it yet, so I'm going to skip that one. I'll recommend it next month. But I recommend this month is I recommend Sweet Tooth by Jeff Lemire, simply because the show is coming out, as well as I don't think a lot of people has read a lot more weird books, so I'm going through my weird book collection. And this is one of them. It's a very sweet story about a the good weird shit, and it's a good story. It's like it's post-apocalyptic. It's completed, so you have nothing to worry about. You can pick up all the volumes. It's, I believe, 7 volumes or 7. Well, back in the day, it was like 7 trades ish, and then they had the Returnal. But they probably got the deluxe editions now. But you can pick it up; it's easy. So yeah, I recommend it. It's interesting how, I guess, what happened if society kind of fell apart ish, but we're all still kind of people. It's really good stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 8. I forgot there's one more. The Return. That was a kind of a one shot in between. Ooh. Yeah, so check it out.
So
yeah,
lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff this month.
Yep. Also, I don't want to spoil why they call him Sweet Tooth, so read it and you'll find out.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. It's big mystery. It's pretty obvious, but I probably people won't figure it out because, wait, what? That's why? Yep, that's why.
His name is Sweet. Well, his name is Gus, but they call him Sweet Tooth.
Yep. And I guess that covers all of our shenanigans this month. We'll be back with more upcoming stuff soon, hopefully soon. And we'll see you the next one. Knock on wood. And hopefully we'll see you the next one, right, Sarah?
Well, it's either that or we're all dead. So, woo!
Optimism.
Optimism.
All right. See you guys next time. And remember to be sure to follow us on all our social medias. Follow us on Twitter. If this podcast is on YouTube, like and share with your friends. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the bell as well so you get notified for more content in the future. And we'll be seeing you next time. Later.
Bye-bye.